Good morning, preppers. Happy day to you. Well, today's a happy day. The next couple of days may not be. So time is short. And we're going to talk about the looming rail strike that very well may still happen. But even if it doesn't, we actually have to look at implications of what's happening here. Not necessarily short-term implications as far as sales of goods, but long-term implications about government control and even more. So stick with the video because I want you to see my point on this, that there's a lot more here than meets the eye. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the first article real quick. This actually, in reality, was a couple days ago. And it says, Railroad Union rejects Biden proposal, raises a threat of a Christmas season strike. Now, in this, I seem to see it over and over again where they keep talking about a Christmas season strike. And honestly, I think they're trying to look at this superficially. I want your input on this too. Because when I see the economy and when I see the possibility of a depression coming or hyperinflation, the last thing I think of is a Christmas strike or a Christmas holiday or any type of holidays coming up. Because sure, we want to be able to get gifts for one another, be able to buy a nice big meal, whatever you do for the holidays is all good, but that is inconsequential compared to the looming disaster that could actually be impending because of the whole situation. All right, so if you haven't been following it, the skinny is this, that the railroad workers, and I feel for them, it's not about the money. It's not about getting more money, even though that's what they keep trying to say. Okay, we'll give you more money. They're like, no, it's not more money. We want to be able to actually have a bit of freedom to have some time off. They want to have time off that's actually could be some sick pay, or maybe somebody dies and there's a funeral. They want to go to the funeral, etc. And the railroad has such a tight hold on these workers that basically they can't get that time off. And the railroad will say, oh, no, we give you 2 weeks leave, whatever. But they're not talking about vacation time. They're talking about we have to have some wiggle room. There has to be some wiggle room. When it comes to most other occupations, they usually have some floaters, some other people in a giant pool. Hey, you know what, Bob? His family's sick. He has to take the day off. So you know what? We need a floater to go out here and take care of this. But I mean, honestly, I'm not in the railroad business. The railroads don't seem to be doing that. So instead of actually trying to address the problem, instead, everybody's saying, oh, just give them more money. They'll be happy with more money. But they're not happy with more money. And the different types of unions that are representing the different sections of railroads, the majority of them have said, no, we're not going to accept more money for this situation. And I get it. I wouldn't want it either. And they said as long as one union doesn't agree, then the whole deal is kaput. And so that's why the railroad union rejects Biden's proposal, raises the threat of a strike. Okay. So with that, Biden thinks he has to step in. Now, in this situation, I'm not going to say I'm an economist or know the situation better than anybody else, but this does not seem to be like a wise situation to me. Let's go ahead and take a look. This was in yesterday's newspaper. Biden hops aboard, clever, for Congress to avert a strike. And what they're looking at in this whole thing, if you look at that very bottom paragraph on the left, it says union officials have warned that an agreement is increasingly unlikely and said the proposal deal is unfair. Okay, so what proposal deal are we talking about? The unions are saying, no, it's not about throwing more money at it. It's about we need to actually have it so they can take time off for emergencies and things like that, sick days per se, without getting in trouble or even getting fired. They want to have more job security in that area. So what they're saying is because of this, that the unions are not going to be able to make a deal with the railroad. So guess what? A strike's going to be happening, which they're saying that because of this, $2 billion a day in the economy is going to tank. That could easily throw us into a depression. That could easily throw us into hyperinflation. That could easily cripple the entire economy to the point where it crashes the whole darn system. It very well could. And so because of this, Biden's stepping in. And instead of Biden stepping in saying, hey guys, why don't we actually look at the railroad workers' idea here as far as actually having, some paid sick time, instead he's ushering Congress to say, you know what, let's go ahead and just make it so they can't strike. It's really funny. Hold on, let me come back to this real quick. This is really funny considering Biden, part of the Democratic Party, has always been on the side of labor unions. But now here he is in this situation, completely flip-flopped, and he's going the other direction, saying labor unions will do what you're told. Very interesting how things have changed, hasn't it? So going to this next article, or this is the same article from yesterday. If you look at the second column, it says, under federal law, Congress can intervene and stop a strike. Now, in this situation, they want to do that. Again, it's simply put because they're worried about the economy, and I get that. Okay, there's hypocrisy going on here, because understand that our gas prices, our diesel prices, our price we're paying per barrel as Iran and Saudi Arabia give us the middle finger and say we're not selling you the gas. And we see our gas prices now still ridiculously high. And again, people kind of think, oh, they're at least down to $3.50 or whatever they're at your point. They've gone down some, but that's $3.50 compared to $2 or $1.50 or back in the good old days, like 99 cents a gallon. And it's almost like they're always trying to push a new normal, trying to push that, oh, $3.50 a gallon, you'll get used to it. But of course, we're seeing massive inflation because of the gas prices and other things too. Inflation is still increasing, causing it so we simply can't afford a lot of things. There's a lot of people going out of work. Now, it's interesting that Biden is shutting down gas industry in the United States. And since 2020, there's been 5 refineries that have been shut down. And it's very interesting, isn't it? But yet won't lift a finger to actually try to open up our actual drilling, our actual refineries here in America, instead trying to get it from, like, for example, Venezuela, which is not the place we want to get fuel from. You understand? All right, so very interesting stuff. Now, today's article out of, let's see, I think this is the Washington Times. Let me look real quick. There's Washington Times. So we can see the House now passes the bill to block the freight rail strike. And now the bill moves to the Senate. And honestly, they said it's actually going to be, in the Senate, it's going to be less uncertain. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be. That's me. I think the Senate's going to blow it right through without any problem. And they're going to push it through and make it so the disruptive strike before the holidays is the top priority. And there it again, as they talk about the holidays. They talk about like buying the latest video game for your kid for a Christmas present is the top priority. They act like that's the major concern here for the holidays. And granted, I know there's holiday shopping and there's holiday traveling and there's a lot of things. And it is a big consumer thing to be able to actually increase the economics for the country during that time. And I get that. But let's go ahead and look at the long-term scenario here. Because of what Biden and Congress and everything are doing, they're taking the power away from the people even more. Because here we are. Today, it's some railroad workers who can't get time off because of sick days without threatening to be fired. What's it going to be tomorrow? Because if they keep pushing their agenda and making it so as the regular Joes or even unions standing up for regular Joes, I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of unions either. But in this situation, for me anyway, maybe you see it differently, it's a no-brainer. Just give the guys some time off. Figure out some other system instead of actually forcing them because of the Christmas season. And I think, personally, I want your opinion on this too, I think the majority of Americans, they're so short-sighted. They're like, oh, I don't want my holidays to be disrupted. I see a lot more at stake here than simply just the holidays. Either A, we crash the economy, or B, let's go ahead and take away some more of our rights and make it easier so we don't have a choice in the whole situation. It's difficult. What do you think on the whole situation? What's your spin? Because it's definitely very strange and unnerving.